I was checking a little bit of the alternative news today, and there's quite a few little tweets and whatnot about Greece. Army reservists are calling for the entire Greek government to step down immediately. They're asking for a coup, basically. And the funny thing is that one of the things I read mentions that these army reservists are also demanding that Germany repay Greece for its wartime loans that it gave Germany back in the day. Now, I was never aware of that. I didn't realize Greece had given Germany money, lent it money during the war. I'm assuming it must have, because they're saying they want their wartime loans repaid directly from Germany. So, does that mean they lent Germany money, or the fact that Germany was the cause of the war, that Greece feels it's entitled to some kind of repayment because it had to fight, basically, and didn't want to fight? I don't know. I think it's what it said, repayment of loans. So apparently they had to have lent Greece some money, or Greece had to lend Germany some money. So I'm reading that I'm trying to figure out, is it the whole army? Is it an army group? One of the posts said army group, and then another one said reservists, special forces, something or another. So there's some kind of rift within the military of Greece. No more bailouts. They were also quoted as saying, we don't need a third bailout. We don't want a third bailout. What we need, basically, is Germany to pay us back the wartime loans. So this is going to be very interesting, because as you've seen, since Greece was a problem, which, I mean, how long has this been going on? Since like 2010 now, at least, with Greece specifically. Bailout, another bailout, austerity measures, remember that? Austerity. Then the IMF lady, Diane, can't think of her name, Christine Lagarde, who was former finance minister or finance something or another of France, and she was quoted as saying that Greece needed to be privatized, in other words, sell off all the assets, before she became the head of IMF. When she made that statement and they were looking for a new IMF head, go look up my video, I came out immediately saying she'll be the next IMF head. When she makes a comment like that a nation needs to sell off its assets to pay for these loans that it didn't want, she's the top dog. She's going to be the top dog of the IMF, because they're one of the prime lenders to countries that are struggling. And sure enough, she became the head of the IMF. So it's no surprise there. But since the IMF loves to loan people money that they know it can't pay back, that's what they do. And the IMF gets most of its money from America and some other countries. In other words, the front story is that, oh, the IMF helps people. IMF helps struggling countries. That's what they're about. When in reality, that's not exactly what they're about. They're getting the money for free to begin with, under the guise of helping other countries. And when those other countries don't pay it back, you would think, well, it's okay. Because places like America, who love freedom and love helping people, yeah, right, would just say, don't worry about it. We tried, you needed help, you didn't pay back, it's okay. It's all good, leave it, just don't worry about it. But instead, the IMF has to go after the countries. We need to privatize your infrastructure, we need your electric company, we need your water company, we need your toll roads to help pay this loan back. And the person that allowed the loan to get in there in the first place was usually the president, prime minister, etc., who was duped by the IMF, as well as probably given some kind of payoff to allow this to happen. Told they're going to get this great interest rate, next thing I know, they can't pay it back. So they want to renegotiate the loan. IMF will usually renegotiate it for a less interest rate, a lower interest rate, with different terms. And the different terms are, okay, if you can't pay it back this time, we're getting some of your infrastructure. So, no surprise there, but I am glad to see Greece who's right. They can't afford a third bailout. The first bailout didn't work. The second bailout didn't work. They can't pay any of it back, so stop with the third bailout, because they're just seeing their country dwindling away to the hands of the IMF and other bankster pals of it who are getting all these assets in Greece. So that when the day comes when they finally let Greece default, they finally allow it to default with no more loans, there won't be anything left in Greece that the Greece people and the government at that point will own. It'll already been sold off. You'll be paying your electric bills to some other person, some other entity that's not in your country, and they got shareholders, and there's no recession there. We're just going to have to raise the prices, suck it up, and go to work.